Hello and welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia, episode 46. I am your host, Ryan Black, and I am joined by my co-host, Jacob Rush, and we are back and we are playing with power. Jacob, how's it going this week?
Mr. Ryan, I'm excited just for today's topic. It's going to be good. I'm doing well. We had Labor Day weekend. I had yesterday off, sort of. Did a lot of stuff at the house, so it was a day off from my regular job, but not a day off from working. So, but I'm doing pretty good in general. How about you?
I'm good. I had a good long weekend. I worked GameStop again, so it was cool just to have that time to work around video games and just talk with people about stuff. There's a lot of teenagers. Of course, it's a mall, so a lot of teenagers just like being silly and doing stupid stuff. So, a little bit of crowd control there, but it was fun.
Is it funny? Like you think back, like did I act like that as a teenager? Like, do you remember yourself? Do you ever think of like old times when you were younger and you're like, why did I do that? My gosh, like I do that sometimes. I'm embarrassed about things I did in the past.
I more ask myself why I didn't do that. Like I was so like reclusive in some aspects, and I was just like I was pretty much in my shell. Everyone called me like, and I was like turtle or something. I just wouldn't come out of my shell.
Turtle. I don't know. I think you came out of your shell pretty well from the Ryan I knew. I mean, you've developed and changed a lot since our GameCube days. To be honest.
Yeah, definitely have. I've come a long way.
Yes. You're not the little Ryan I used to know anymore. You're still little, just not the same. Not the same.
Are you calling me short? I take offense.
Maybe. Yeah, you can't help it. It's just in your genetics. What can I say? You know who else is short? I mean, and everyone likes this guy, Ryan. Is
Kirby?
Odd Job, GoldenEye 007.
Nobody likes Odd Job.
No one liked to fight against him, but a lot of people like to use him. He's a cheap character. Anyways, so man, why don't we get into the news? It's all good.
So, as Jacob has ushered us into the news prematurely, let's go. So, what is new in the news? Let's see here. I think we had a direct that came out recently that we haven't recorded any of our say on.
Correct.
With the recent Nindies direct. So
Correct.
Let's get into it. Okay, just a few highlights. Maybe the games that we're excited to play from this direct. None of the stuff that we may not be too interested in, like the elephant.
YOLO or Yono or something like that.
That's it. Yeah, Yono. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the ones we're really excited about, like Super Meat Boy coming out with a sequel on the Switch. Super stoked. It's platforming at its finest, and it's coming portable to our Switch, our beloved Switch.
Yeah, a lot of people are really excited about that one. I never even played the first one. I mean, I don't think it's like gory in a sense of like it's like inappropriate horror gore. It's just like you're a piece of meat. So what do you know what I mean? Like you're raw meat running around. So there's blood if you get killed.
Jacob, do me a favor. Go to the store, pick up some nice ground beef, and take it and throw it against a bunch of saw blades and tell me what happens.
Ooh. I think I know exactly what happens already, man.
Well, you don't have to do this because you can just play Super Meat Boy.
That's right. And I don't have to get the germs on my hands. Yeah, Super Meat Boy. I mean, we're not going to go down the list here and talk about every single game, but I guess we could talk about the ones that did stand out to us. And that one was out of the few. I won't lie. I mean, I wasn't like Tom. He's like texting us, freaking out about every little game that gets announced. I'm just like, okay, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, but Meat Boy, Yeah, that has interest in me. I have some interest in that. Um, what about you, man? Everyone keeps talking about what's the game? Oh, is it Murphy or something like that?
Morphe's Law. Yes, Morphe's Law. I'm very intrigued by this. It's a third person shooter that it involves stealing mass from your opponents to you get bigger and they get smaller, but then they can fit in smaller spaces and you can't fit in those small spaces, so they can move around a little easier than you can. You get a little faster, and your
Yeah,
goal is basically to have the most mass at the end of the game. So it's kind of interesting.
yeah. That game looked interesting. It kind of gives you that golden eye feel again, that shooter
Yeah.
type feel, which it appeals to me. So I may give it a shot. We'll see how reviews are and stuff. That I typically don't wait on reviews for big type games and stuff because like I want to experience it myself. But for a game like this, where I'm kind of unsure about, I don't, I'll wait and listen to what others have to say on it. But
I get kind of a swap fire vibe from this too.
yeah, yeah.
Very like I know it's not like a first person, but it's got that kind of a different take on a shooter. And
Yes.
I like this. I'm open to those fresh ideas.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you. 100%. Yeah, the elephant one, it kind of looked cool at first, and then once I went back to rewatch it, I'm like, nah, I don't want to play that. Yo, no. Sorry.
What about sausage?
No. That looks that's just too dumb. No way. I don't care. That's got to stay in the podcast, right? That's got to stay in the episode.
I don't even know where that came from. My phone just started playing music. Okay.
That's hilarious.
Disclaimer: that is not in my iTunes library. I don't know where it came from.
Sure. Okay. Well, another game that I think there was like 3 games honestly that really stood out to me, and that last game, the No More Heroes, that
Yeah,
looked really interesting. Again, I don't know anything about it that much. I don't even think I played the
dude,
first one, but
he's working with indie developers, and like you and Travis, I guess you're this guy out for revenge against him, get sucked into this video game world where you have to play through these different indie developer games.
hmm.
So like imagine now these aren't confirmed games, but like imagine playing like Shovel Knight in one and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
going on to like a Mighty Number Nine or
Oh,
Gunvolt
yeah.
world, and then like each one is a different developer. So it's like working with different indies in this game, kind of like a almost like a compilation of different games. Like
Yeah.
have like like I don't know why Midway comes to mind, like Midway Hits or like Atari
Mhm.
Classics or something. But it's all
Mhm.
like indies, and it's like set in this setting of the No More Heroes setting. It's going to be interesting. I'm very, very, very curious to see how well this develops and where it goes.
Yeah, it looked interesting. I will say I was impressed by the trailer, and I think is this Switch exclusive?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's
Suda
sweet.
51 has some of that Nintendo love. So
That's sweet. I'm excited about that. Awesome, awesome stuff.
another one I did mention the Blaster Master Zero.
Yep, yep.
And I just want to say that I'm really looking forward to Inti Create's new one, the Dragon Marked for Death. I'm really looking forward to this game. I mean, anything like Inti Creates, I'm sold on, just because I fell in love with Blaster Master Zero and the Mighty Gunvolt first. So
Uh huh.
I really like what they've done. Now I have not played the Gunvolt series, so I have to really pick those up. I think they just released that on the eShop. Actually,
Yeah,
I think it was a collection of the first couple games. Maybe I haven't really looked into it yet, but Striker Pack is what they call it.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
any other games that piqued your interest?
not super. Games I'll probably someone will rave to me about it, and I'll probably like, oh yeah, I'll pay more attention to this. But
Yeah,
the initial stuff was stuff like I recognize with Inti Creates and of course No More Heroes, and
yeah.
actually played any of the No More Heroes games.
Me either.
That was something that I had on my list of I'll do it some other time, and I never got around to it. Wii U came around, and then I missed out on that, and then now Switch is around, and I'm hoping I don't miss out on this one. I really like the idea of doing the indie developer games and stuff inside of it.
Yeah, depending on what it's rated, I'll probably pick it up. Yeah, so I think the most important thing to talk about with the Nindies was the one game that was not there. And I think you know what that game was.
Are we going here again, Jacob?
We have to. I mean,
I
was a guest,
but just for a little bit.
Okay, you can time me. I was a guest on Nintendo Dads last week, as everyone knows. I was a guest for the Retro Rewind of Donkey Kong 64, and I was there on Fresh when the Nindy on that night. We talked about it all, and I thought about bringing it up, but I was a guest on their show, and I was just like, I don't want to go on a rant of a soapbox. Being my second time guest there, they think I'm crazy and not invite me back, So I did not go there. But I've been saving this for us. So last week when the Nindies Direct dropped, I was pretty bitter because all week long you heard it in the episode. I said I'd be shocked if this game was not announced, the release date and everything. And I was excited. I had planned out a small portion of the day to just stop and watch this. And then that morning we got the announcement from Playtonic Games themselves, and they said that they missed the Nindies Direct and they will not be there for this. And my balloon was deflated. Like, honestly, when I was listening to the stuff, I listened and I watched, and I just really didn't care for the most part, because I only wanted one game, and that was Yooka-Laylee, folks. You can skip over the next 5 minutes if you're tired of my Yooka-Laylee rants, but man, why was this not there? It's September, Ryan. It's September. How they've been saying the game, more information on the Switch version will come soon. Well, they don't have just information on the Switch. They keep bringing information, and they bring tons of information for the PC version of the game and the Xbox and PlayStation version of the game. And then they give you a tidbit of, we're still working on Switch news.
Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes.
You know what I'm saying? So they said they're not going to come at the Nindies, which I was really upset about. I'm just like, wow, okay, you know what? Whatever. I don't know why you're not there. This is very upsetting. But then to make matters worse, you know what they did, Ryan? The very next day?
Uh-huh.
The very next day, they drop an announcement for the PC version of the game.
Oh. I didn't even hear that.
Yeah. The very next day, they start talking about another update or something for a different version of Yooka-Laylee. Because, guys, I'm still excited for the game. I'm going to get the game. I'm just ticked off about it because that's how bad I want it, And the truth of it is, I'll be honest, if they would have just not rushed the game out in April, all of this would be less sour. You know what I'm saying? It would be less sour because they rushed the game out in the first place, and they had a lot of backlash that, I can understand and say the good part of it. And I've defended them on it. But they had to take a bunch of backlash and get their game smothered in the mud. And they finally patch it all up, get this awesome big patch out there for all the systems. You know what? If they weren't screwing around and rushing the game to market in April, I bet you that they wouldn't have had all their issues that they had. And I bet you the Switch argument right now wouldn't be as big of a topic. Like if everyone just got the game in September and then the Switch version came in November, would have been different, But I just feel like they rushed the game out, so then that created a whole laundry list of issues that made their Nintendo version be delayed even more than what it initially should have been. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. And I get where you're coming from. I'm not as passionate about it because you're the one that, I wasn't initially going to be getting Yooka-Laylee. But you said that I had to purchase it. That was my mandatory have to buy this year. So I was
Yeah, it
like,
might be
okay,
next year at this rate.
yeah. Some people are saying that. We'll see. I'm still hopeful it'll come out this year, but I'm not super like bummed about it. I'm just like, oh, whatever. I'll just wait. But I know that you're pretty passionate about it, and so I think all of our listeners know that.
Yeah.
It's safe to say that when ukulele comes out, we're gonna stop everything. We're gonna do a special episode on ukulele just for you,
yes.
Jacob.
We
And
are.
it'll probably be like 12 hours long, but it needs to be done. I apologize in advance.
We will do a ukulele episode, and no one will probably listen to it because the game's been out since April, and everyone else has already talked about it. But
one of our listeners should just like pull parts of our shows where you start talking about ukulele and patch them all together and see how long it runs.
that I'd be curious to see that. But anyways, that's my ukulele talk. Well, we had a couple other tidbit news of here, right?
Yeah, a couple things here and there.
The memory. I wanted to talk about the memory of the Switch real quick. That was brought up in the community by Andrew Swan. About I think like what it is. Is it a 2K game that's coming out that is going to require like more memory than the Switch actually has to run on the Switch?
I didn't read into which game it was. I just heard that games are some bigger games. Now, it doesn't surprise me that it's going to be third parties probably that do this at first. And games will get bigger as the system gets older probably. But yeah, I think that they're going to be needing some space in expanding that Switch memory.
Gotcha.
I definitely say start shopping for SD cards, the micro SD cards, because you're going to need it.
Yeah. Well, the argument was that this is just ridiculous from Nintendo, and this is why they're, stupid and always behind the times. And really, I mean, I don't think that's the case. I mean, Nintendo is very, very, very good at showcasing or shrinking all their games to compressing. That's the word. Compressing their game to have take up not a lot of room. And why would Nintendo, if they can save money and put a smaller gigabyte system in their system for the internal storage, why not? You know what I mean? Like they're focused on them, and third parties can, do what they can, I guess. But I don't see the issue here, just because like even in the GameCube days, like we had memory cards. I ran out of space and I need a bigger memory card. So, oh boy, who cares? Like, I don't think this is an issue. My Switch doesn't even have a memory card right now, Ryan, and I have NBA Playgrounds, I have Zelda, I have Mario Kart, Splatoon 2, I have Mario Rabbids, I have Wonder Boy.
Well, you can only really count the digital ones. They don't really take up much space if they're on a cart.
Still, but it takes up some space.
Yeah.
But I have Puyo Puyo. I'm just saying I have a lot crammed on my Switch, and I still haven't had you're out of room. Symbol yet.
Now, a lot of initial scare is if you have a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, you see how huge some of these games are. You fill up 2 terabyte hard drives like super fast, and it's like it's nothing. And so like people are seeing these nightmares coming to something that only has 32 gigabytes, and they're like, there's no way the Switch is going to survive. And I get where they're coming from, and the fact that the Switch does support up to 2 terabyte SD card, micro SD card, which doesn't exist yet. It's probably in development stages now, but it doesn't exist. In fact, the 1 gigabyte is, I'm sorry, 1 terabyte. Did I say gigabyte? I meant terabyte.
Mm-hmm.
1 terabyte like is available on the market out there, but it's not something it's easily accessible. Like I think a few people have access to it, and even if they do, it's like at least $1,000, if not more. So it's not something that people are going to have right now. And you'll notice a lot of Switch cases come with not only game card slots, but also slots for your SD cards, micro SD cards. And so they're kind of preparing that you'll have multiple SD cards to switch from until you can afford to get one of the big ones when it's cost effective. And you could just drop it onto your computer, put in the new SD card, drop that folder onto the SD card, pop it out of your computer, and put it in your Switch. Because I've done that with one. I had I think it was like an 8 gigabyte memory card that I just I did a data transfer basically really easily. It didn't have to do anything special like the 3DS data transfer stuff is. So it was pretty
Yeah.
easy and accessible.
Yeah, that's I don't think it's that big of an issue. Just buy a memory card.
It's an extra expense, yes, but we kind of knew it was happening.
Sure,
And
sure.
we knew that in advance just because of today's. It's supposed to happen.
But you know what? It made my Switch purchase a lot cheaper in the initial beginning because I didn't need a memory card. I didn't go out and buy one, which they're not. They're almost the size of a game, depending on what size you get and
Yeah.
or more. So I mean, for somebody who say the mom and dad they don't know what they're doing at Christmas time very well, but their kid wants a Switch, well, they can buy a Switch right there and then get Mario Odyssey and Zelda and Mario Kart, and it'll all fit right there on the system, and they didn't have to worry about getting an SD card. So, yeah, I think I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. So, and so you brought this to my attention. Ironically, I had just started playing this game just for fun just 2 days ago. Only for a short time, but Mario Run got pulled off from the iOS and then got re-put back on shortly after.
Yeah. Yeah, people were like, where'd it go? Everyone was freaking out. Like, why did Nintendo remove it? And then just as swiftly, it was back on the eShop again. I'm hearing some rumors. There's some things on there that are hinting at some Mario Odyssey content.
Hey, that'd be cool.
I think it was Amiibo Jason that said something about that, and he wasn't going to disclose anything. But I'm kind of curious to see what this is about. I haven't really delved into the app too much. In fact, I haven't played it in a long time. I think since the initial run, pun intended. But
yeah,
but yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what this functionality is with Mario Odyssey in some way, and like you can like transfer coins or something, or like do some crazy silly things, and maybe it'll even integrate into your Nintendo Switch app. So I don't know, it'd be kind of
that'd be cool. Do you ever get on what is it? What was their social app? What is that?
Oh, Miitomo, yeah.
Yeah, you still get on Miitomo, Ryan?
In a great while, yeah. I'll get on there and see what's going on in there. I get some notifications on my My Nintendo. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out.
Maybe if you get some cool wallpaper, I'll go in there and change it. But
once I got the Metroid stuff, I was pretty much set. I'm like, I don't need any more
colors
in this game.
Yeah, that was their big celebration for Metroid's 25th anniversary. Is that correct?
Something like that, yeah.
Just some wallpaper.
Still pretty cool to have Ridley like hanging out on my back,
Yeah, that was funny. Well, guys, I have been playing a little bit of Donkey Kong Country 3, a little bit of Mario Run for like 5 minutes, and then I have mainly been playing Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Guys, I am obsessed with this game. It is
good.
It's awesome. I mean, this game has me hooked. Like, if I didn't have to do this, if I didn't have to do this show, I'd be playing it right now.
So I know it's early still, but is this like your game of the year? Would you say?
Yeah, it's better than Zelda. Yes.
Wow, that's pretty big words there.
I mean, I know a lot of people are going to completely laugh and disagree with me. Don't get me wrong.
It's subjective to what you like and what you think is the best. So I understand.
Yes and no. Like, I can really dive into Zelda and Metroid, especially. Like, for the longest time, I mean, Zelda was probably my number one ranking franchise for me throughout I'd say maybe throughout the GameCube and Wii days, especially. But my issues with Zelda was it totally lacked story, which is my favorite fundamental part of Zelda, is a deep, engaging story. And it lacked new, fresh, and catchy music. And everyone knows I love the music in my video games. So although Zelda was phenomenal, it was fun. I'm not saying it's a bad game. Mario Rabbids took a game. It almost did the exact opposite. It took a game play style that I'm not really familiar with and have I mean, it's like a mixture of like Fire Emblem, which I hate, and XCOM, it took this new foreign gameplay to me and made it really fun. but it's more fun. Not just because the gameplay, but because the whole package as a whole deal. Like it's the art style, it's the humor, it's the music. It's Grant Kirkhope. This is the first game that Grant Kirkhope has had on a Nintendo system since the 64. You realize that? He hasn't made music for a Nintendo game since the Nintendo 64, which was his heyday to his career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in love with this game. It's so funny. It's so stupid humor, funny. Guys, I never once doubted that Mario Rabbids would not be good. From the moment I heard rumors, I was like, oh, wow, I think I'd like that. This is what I was afraid was because Grant's doing the music and the humor is how it is. Like it has Rare written all over it. I was afraid that this would like kind of suck up my ukulele excitement because I've been waiting so long. I've been getting, pretty upset about it. And I actually realized it had the opposite effect. I actually made me more excited for Yuka. I know there are different gameplay styles, but the music really gets me like, man, I really want to play ukulele because I know Grant does the music, the majority of the music for that game. So Mario Rabbids is so fun. Ryan, I'm just baffled that I understand you've hit a money wall at the moment, but I am just baffled that this game isn't even like an A-list game for you. You're going to play Mario. You're going to play Sonic. Sonic isn't even like you like Sonic, but Sonic's not like your number one. He's not even in your top 5 franchises, at least not to my knowledge, I thought. And you have to get this game. If Ukulele gets pushed back to next year, this is your must-get game for 2017.
I've got nothing against Rabbids, so it's not that. I've got nothing against Mario, so it's not that. Grid-based movement on a field, I don't like. In general, like a la Fire Emblem and things like that. So I that might be one thing that kind of pushes me away from it. But just like I'm not a big soundtrack person. I'm not a big music person. Like I'll enjoy it from time to time. Like it's not something that's like I feel like it's something that is experimental and it is something that is it is on my B list because right now I am in a financially hard time. There's some things that I have to pay for. Like I say have to, loosely, but like my Super Nintendo Classic. I pay for that, and I got to pay for Metroid coming out. So like, those are like my A-list things, and so like this does fall by the wayside, but it's not something that I'm against. This is a game that I wouldn't feel too bad if I just like rented it and played it for a little bit instead of just owning it, because it's not something that I necessarily need to put money into. It's kind of how I feel right now with that, and I kind of lump it in the same vein as like Donkey Kong games. It's not must plays for me.
Heck?
They're my Donkey Kong games are my B list. That they are. I enjoy them when I play them, but they're not something that I have to go out and buy like right away. So,
what the heck is wrong with you, man?
I am a different person than you.
I can't even talk.
I'm sorry, man.
This is blasphemy. I can't believe this. Blasphemy.
I love me some Donkey Kong, but there's better franchises out there, in my opinion.
No, not really. But it's okay to be wrong, Ryan. I understand. We all can't be right like me. You're hanging out with Tom too much. That's the issue. You're just you seem.
Oh yeah, we were getting together a couple weekends from now. Playing games and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well. In the end, Mario Rabbids. If this was Blockbuster days where we had Blockbuster, it definitely would be a top of the line rentable game. I definitely would say, yeah, if you're on the fence, rent it because it's a fun game. I really hope they come out with the demo for it. If they could come out with the demo for free eShop, you definitely got to download that and play it. But I mean, heck, I have the game. Just come over and play it with me. Everything you wrap into it, it's got a funny little story. It's got just fun humor, great music, good gameplay. It looks great. I really think you'll like this one when you finally pick it up, whenever that may be.
Cool.
So that's what I've been playing, and that's what I will continue to be playing for the next probably 2 weeks or whatever, however long it takes me to beat. Go. How about you?
I have a super ton of video games and stuff, but what I have been playing is Splatoon 2. I found a group to play with, and when I'm not able to play with the nostalgia guys, and so they're fun. They got a little bit of language, but they're a lot of fun to play with, and none of us are super skilled, so we just have fun, trying to survive and and do well. Having a good old time with that. Another really big thing though is I got to play this weekend in the Splatfest, and Jacob,
Flight, baby, flight.
we were both cheered for Team Flight. My reasoning was, I don't dream about being invisible. I dream about flying. And so like when I wake up and I have these like awesome dreams, this big smile on my face, it's because I was flying in those or floating or whatever. Just like of different 10s to 20s, I guess, of different times that I've had dreams about flying. And I remember these things and I revisit them often. So like flying is very much something that I'd love to do. Like powers, but that's the one I'd want to have. What about you, Jacob? Why do you pick flight?
Oh, I picked flight. I mean, mainly for one reason only, and it's because I think of the whole gang of Z fighters, and when I was first introduced to Dragon Ball Z, for basically you, I mean, you did get me into Dragon Ball Z back in the day, and I met people like Brad who was into it as well. It all just fed into each other. They flew everywhere, and man, if we could fly like just on our own, you know how much easier life would be. Like we could get to
I was
places so much faster.
I remember thinking about it back then when I had my big red bag. I was like, I don't know how I'd fly and carry my big red bag at the same time. I'd have to figure that one out. But yeah, man, just like, flying to like the local movie theater together and just like watching something like
Oh my
mundane
gosh.
things, like
Yeah,
commute to work.
absolutely. I would sell my car right away if I could start flying. I would. Like
I don't
I
think
don't need
cats
it.
and trees would ever be an issue.
I mean, we probably still need one car, I guess, if you want to travel and take a lot of stuff with you. So I'd keep one car around, I guess, but I don't need it. I think flying is awesome. I mean, invisibility, what the only thing you can do is be a pervert and like sneak in the girls' locker room with that ability. That's all I could think of. Or if you just want to eavesdrop on somebody, okay, great move. Other than that, it's not that awesome. So I think flying, I'm glad it won too. It actually won something that I'm stoked about, and a lot of people are mad about, I guess. Warp Whistle was talking about this today too. I want to get your opinion on it. They were talking about how like they feel like people are voting just for who are the two new Splat Girl names? Is it Marina?
And Pearl.
And Pearl, yes, Pearl. They feel like because Pearl's kind of portrayed as like the ugly one, and Marina's portrayed as kind of like the attractive one. That
Really?
oh oh yeah, totally. I
I think they
mean,
both have their own different like styles, but I think that they both pull off that look.
no, I've never viewed it that way. I can totally, in my opinion, Marina is definitely portrayed as more of the. This is really weird talking about Splatoon characters, but she's portrayed as more of the sexier feminine character of the two. And they're talking about that, and they think that a lot of people vote for Marina just because she's more attractive. And I honestly can see that. I can totally see that ugliness of Pearl just kind of keeps you away. I'm not too fond of Pearl's character design.
Personally, I mean, I'm a fan of Marina, so but I also see where like Pearl's coming from. Like Pearl has that like type, like with the rap and everything, and has that different spin on that's really that character kind of caricature of. And so like I really like diversity, and yeah, you can have I know some people that they're all Pearl all the way and like don't really like the kind of ditziness of Marina or as Arena comes off as. But like there's different views there. I could see both sides of it. Personally, I'm a Arena fan, even though I did have to go with Flight, which is Pearl's side. But whatever.
Yeah.
So speaking of Flight, and in honor of Flight, we are doing a special episode today, and that is all about Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
DBZ.
Before we get into our topic, we've got a voicemail. Let's hear it, Jacob.
Hey, Jacob and Ryan, it's Kevin from Play Some Video Games. Giving you guys a little shout out. Just want to say, love the show, love what you guys are doing. Each and every week, it's a whole new adventure. Over on my site, I fortunately do not get to talk about retro games that often, so I love living vicariously through you guys. So keep up the awesome work. Look forward to it each and every single week. And Ryan, man, do me a favor. Call Jake's doctor, see if you can get some new blood pressure medication. I worry about him with ukulele and stuff, so if you can just keep an eye out for my boy, I'd appreciate it. But anyway, thank you guys. Keep up the great work. One question for you, though, if you don't mind addressing on the show. If you were able to bring one quote-unquote retro franchise or game and have it rejuvenated on the Nintendo Switch that hasn't already been announced, what would that be and why? Anyway, keep up the good work, guys. Look forward to listening. Peace.
Oh, well, for me, it's going to be Ice Climbers. Like, seriously. They need their new game and their new mechanics and their new, I guess, genre even, their new style. They need to be updated, given new life.
Wow. Kevin, thanks for calling, man. I appreciate that. And that's funny you mentioned after my ukulele rant that I just had. So Ryan, did Kevin want to know about, was it Nintendo only or was it a franchise in general?
I think he said Nintendo franchise.
Nintendo franchise, retro franchise. Okay. Wow.
It's not been announced. I mean, you could probably go with your Donkey Kong. That's a safe one. It's not been announced.
I mean, I definitely want Donkey Kong on there, but that's so obvious. It's so obvious. Who would I pick for Nintendo to bring back on the Switch that has not been announced yet? Guys, I really would like to see Ice Climbers is a good one, Ryan. I would like to see some Ice Climbers. I'm gonna say I would love for them to bring back.
It's Dinosaur Planet, isn't it?
I wish. So does retro mean like it's only NES and SNES games, or does retro like count for 64 games too?
You could probably go 64, maybe stretching it with GameCube. If there's something on GameCube that you played that you haven't
Okay. I want Diddy Kong Racing back. That is the hands down. I'll take that over another Donkey Kong Country game right now, just because we haven't had the sequels got canned. They're supposed to come back, and Rare got sold, so we never got to see the sequels that were planned. And I totally would love a Diddy Kong Racing sequel. Kevin, that is my choice. And if it's outside Nintendo, again, because I can't quite remember the whole specific, I definitely want Ninja Turtles back on the Nintendo and redone right for Nintendo. So that's my pick. Those are my picks. But thank you so much for calling, buddy. We appreciate you. Guys, that was Kevin from Play Some Video Games. Guest of the show, friend of the show, been on twice. Go check out their show. No. Great. All right. Where were we? Oh, yeah. DBZ. Ryan, I got to play this song one more time. I love it so much. All right, Dragon Ball Z. Ryan, I'm stoked about this episode because even though it's about Budokai, which originally came out on PlayStation 2, Hey, I won't lie. That's how I first was introduced to it. And I was very sad about it because you had PS2 back in the day. And that's where I saw you and John Hester play it a lot. Honestly, I would watch you guys play at your house. I'd try to play. But then I get to go home and to my GameCube because I didn't have PlayStation 2. But it came out originally, Budokai came out in America on December 3rd, 2002 for the PlayStation 2. But what the date that really matters was it finally got to America. It was made me so excited on October 28th, 2003. So that's slightly after my birthday. But I got that game for Christmas that year. That was an awesome Christmas. I got Mario Kart Double Dash and I got Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the Nintendo GameCube. And I got tons of music. So many good bands that year. But that's another topic off. Music. Go ahead.
My nostalgia of the GameCube version was through you. As I was playing my Budokai 2, you were getting your Budokai 1 for GameCube. I remember we were both talking about it.
Oh, yeah, it sucked.
It was interesting dynamic to talk about it. Yeah, I played that game. Yeah, I know that game. Yeah, cool. I'm glad you got it, man. I hope you're enjoying it. But I was like sitting here like secretly like, haha, he doesn't know what he's missing out on in the second one. It's so amazing. And
it's the same crap we still get today, honestly.
I know it.
We're getting Xenoverse 2 for the Switch, and everyone else is getting this Fighter Z game.
Yep.
Same. Exact same. It still hasn't changed over all this time. So bogus. But yeah, man, we're not just talking about Budokai. We're talking about Dragon Ball Z here. And like the game really, really was great at capturing what the cartoon was.
Yes. I totally agree with that.
It did a phenomenal job. Dragon Ball Z Budokai, I was watching the intro just for the heck of it before we started up here tonight, and they redid the entire original American intro for Dragon Ball Z just for the game, and like it had the same music. And we're back to 2003 watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami Cartoon Network, and back then we were still getting new episodes for Z for America, and you in the winter, and all these memories just flood together. It was truly, truly an awesome time when Dragon Ball Z and Nintendo GameCube and punk rock was all like merging in my life at the same time. It was glorious, and we have that kind of a renaissance today, do we not? Like Ryan, we did our episode way back at the start of the show where we said we want these franchises back on Nintendo. And so far, we have gotten Bomberman, like you said, and now we're getting Dragon Ball Z back. I said I wanted Ninja Turtles, and we don't have the Turtles yet, but who knows? Hopefully they're coming. And you wanted Baton Kaios? Kaios?
What?
Was that the other game you wanted? Baton Kaios?
No, that's the other card game. I wanted Lost Kingdoms.
Lost Kingdoms. Okay, yeah, I got it. Oh, yeah. I was close. You wanted Lost Kingdoms back on the Nintendo platform. Yeah, man. Good stuff though. That's such a, for me, my nostalgia in the mid 2000s, like all that goes together. And we now have Dragon Ball Super out, and it running strong on Funimation, and it's on Toonami, Adult Swim now. And we're getting these Dragon Ball Z games. And it just kind of feels like it's been reincarnated for today, and I'm loving it.
So the Dragon Ball Z takes me back to a time being at my old house growing up, and my mom had this little kitchen that just kind of just really, really tiny. And I remember turning it on one time, and there was this cartoon on, and it was this little kid like playing with this dinosaur, like running away from the dinosaur. I don't know. I didn't know what was going on in it, but that was like my first exposure to Dragon Ball Z. Little did I know. And then that kind of stuck with me. And so when I was watching TV one day with John Hester, like I saw this show, this Dragon Ball Z show, and I'm like, I think I've actually seen this before. And so because of that, like I instantly liked it because I recognized it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of what hooked me initially. I'm so obsessed with just Dragon Ball Z in general. And so when they took this 2D anime art style and put it into a 3D world and it's like fighting game, that was perfect. I was like, this is the best thing ever. I don't need anything else in my life but this. It was so great. And I remember I was big about like not finding out about spoilers and things like that. And I didn't really understand that the American version came out much later after the Japanese version did. And
it's like
so
10 years later.
I remember walking into KB Toys and going down the toy set or toy area that had Dragon Ball Z stuff and seeing these characters I'd never seen before in the show. And I felt like I was cheating or like I was like dirty or something for seeing like this kid named Trunks and this character named Boo. And I felt like I shouldn't be seeing this stuff. This is stuff I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And so like for like a year, I never went back down that aisle because I didn't want any spoilers. I wanted to find out from the show.
Right. Totally.
And these are like characters that at the time, like I never even saw, of course, in Budokai. So like that didn't come in until Budokai 2. And so like I was very much in the first set of things with Cell, and I was still waiting on, they had finished those story arcs. I can't remember exactly where I was in there. But I was just kind of waiting for the new stuff to come out and the new season. And there was already the stuff available on toy shelves about the new season. And I was like, I can't deal with that. So.
Yeah. You bring up a good point. In the first Budokai game, they did the story mode was really the funnest part about that game. Like, it was fun to play with your friends, but you got to, I think for the first time, at least to my knowledge, this was the first time you basically could reenact the cartoon out in a game. Like they had so many cutscenes of the were straight from, just like how they redid the original intro to the cartoon. I mean, they basically took 3D animations and redid exact scenes from the cartoon as you played along, and you'd play a fight scene in the cartoon, and then once you win, it plays the next clip of that episode. And they obviously did not go from episode to episode. There's a lot of skipping around to the main stuff, or we'd still be playing Budokai to this day. But they did a really good job at showing you what Dragon Ball Z was, but in a 3D video game world. I loved that. I really did.
And what really tied the game together was the little touches, seeing Oolong at the loading screen after you press start.
Yep.
And the loading screen itself, when you're waiting for like going into different game modes, it showed like a dragon radar like going around, and it shows the Dragon Ball Budokai thing. And like those little things, and like the fact that they got the voice actors to do different sayings and stuff just really made this a genuine experience, and it made it feel like it was like the ultimate Dragon Ball Z 3D experience.
Yes. Yeah. My biggest complaint, you mentioned it already. What I hated the most about Budokai was that my favorite, because at the time we were just getting into this saga in real time. My favorite villain of all time was kept out of the game, and that was Kid Buu. All of the Majin Buus, the Majin Buu arc is my personal favorite for Dragon Ball Z. I loved that arc. You went Super Saiyan 3. Spoilers, everybody. Goku went Super Saiyan 3. You had the Gohan training with the Supreme. Is it the? No, it was the Elder Kai. That's what it was. It was the Elder Kai with that sword, and they introduced fusion, and they made Gogeta, or is either Gogeta or Vegito, depending on. I can't remember if the dance transforms him into Gogeta or if it's the pierced ears that. You know what I mean? There's a dance you confuse.
Right. And that's Vegito, and that's Potara.
Okay.
And then the dance was the Gogeta.
You mean the earring was Gogeta?
Potara. Vegeta was the Potara.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay, yes.
The earrings.
And the key trick was once you put on the earrings, you're supposed to be together forever. And then Majin Buu, like swallows them, and like something happens, and they actually
the
split
magic
up.
of Majin Buu split them because he couldn't digest two entities in one.
Yes,
kind of how it worked out. Like that dimension split them somehow, or whatever that is. So
yes, yeah, absolutely. But they were ultimately, though, that whole arc was left out of the game, which made me so envious of you with Budokai 2, because what did they advertise the most with Budokai 2? It was Kid Buu's right there on the front of the box. Yeah. I mean, it was a shiny silver. It was a shiny silver holographic box with Kid Buu right at the top there.
I remember trying to convince you to get a PlayStation 2 just so you could play these games. Like, I was like, man, you just got to do it. You got to get into it. Like, no, I'll just wait for it to come to GameCube.
Yep. Which it did the next Christmas.
It worked for you then, but not so much for the third one.
Yeah, the third one didn't even come. Didn't even come to Nintendo at all. No, not at all. Like, I don't even remember there being a third one because I completely skipped it because of it. I went on to Tenkaichi for the Wii. I remember that was one of I got, this ain't even about that, but I got Twilight Princess and Tenkaichi for my Wii that Christmas when the Wii got launched, and Wii Sports, obviously. So those were my 3 games that Christmas. Good times, man. Good times. But so I wanted to talk about with Dragon Ball Z Budokai and any of them, honestly, what annoys the most crud out of me though with these games, and this is why I have kind of a hard time taking them seriously as fighting games, because when you know the anime as well as I do, and you follow the story and you're very particular about like key things, making a fighting game, let's be honest, out of Dragon Ball Z is kind of like, it's almost very limited. And if you wanted to follow the anime, because dude, you could be a mastermind at Krillin, but Krillin is not going to beat Goku in a real fight in the show. You know what I mean?
If you use imagination and Goku let him win,
Oh, no way. Hands down. There's no way Krillin's going to beat Kid Buu. How about that? There's just no way. And it's an annoying issue with the game that you can be Krillin or you could be TN and fight Kid Buu and win if you were good enough as a player.
Hey, Hercule can take out anyone. Just remember that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yes, he can. Hercule. That's just kind of a tidbit of annoyingness to me, I guess, because in reality, like, please, there's no way Yamcha is going to beat Vegeta.
But see, that goes more towards your preference for story continuity.
Sure.
And it's less, it wouldn't work for a fighting game if that's all you could be is like Goku. And like
Goku versus Vegeta. Yeah, I know. You're right.
It has to have that, diversity in fighters. And yes, there is some like, this would never happen, but what if, and what if, Chaozu is kicking, I don't know.
Cell?
Yeah, why not? Just say he just, defeats Cell single-handedly. Doesn't even have to blow himself up. Yamcha sneezes and Cell is defeated,
Hey, Yamcha though. I've seen him take on that one-man punch guy and block his attack there. So Yamcha's got some skills.
Blasphemy.
Yamcha's got some skills there.
Whoever made that, there should be bad things happening to him right now.
that they did that just to troll fans of that series.
I'm sorry, Saitama. No.
Yamcha. Oh my gosh, Yamcha. So he's so funny how weak and pathetic he is. I mean, so anyways,
he looked really cool in Tree of Might though, doing his techniques with the spirit ball. That's so cool looking. He looked awesome. Like he seriously I thought he was going to do something awesome, and he didn't really. I mean, that was probably his shining moment. But
yeah, he probably died, didn't he? I can't even remember that one. He probably just died like he does in every season.
He looked awesome doing his signature move. That's what the point was.
There you go. Yeah. He was good for the Dragon Ball series, and that's about it.
So speaking of characters, we did have a semi-diverse roster to pull from. We had 23 characters to choose from. I think like 21 of them were available. There you could see like question marks, or you could see unlock. I think they had 2 bonus characters maybe.
Uh-huh.
I'm a little fuzzy on that. I know that there's 23 characters ultimately. Some of the game mechanics in fighting. It used a 3 health bar system. Similar to some fighting games, you take certain amount of damage, but some of that damage is red damage that can be recovered on the bar, so it hasn't completely lost. If you can like wait it out, you can gain some of that health back. Very typical of it. Typical fighting game, punches, kicks. One thing they added was being able to do a key burst and be able to just shoot a blast out, and that was also your way of using energy attacks. And to balance that out, you had a key meter that you had to charge up, a key gauge. You had to charge up, and the higher your gauge, the more advanced the technique you can pull off. On the game screen, there was a wheel in the corners of what were the capsule corp capsules that would represent your moves, and you'd set those up on your character before going into battle. And when you pulled off a move, it'll cycle to that one and special cinematic or whatever. It's a very flashy game. It's a balance of save your energy for that one moment or release like blasts and drain your energy fast, but it gives you a chance to get close to them or something like that. It was back and forth. It was a very cutscene type game, and that's really how Dragon Ball Z is. It's very flashy.
Oh, totally. The characters you could choose from were Android 16, 17, 18, 19, Captain Ginyu. You could choose Cell, and you could transform into any of his forms, from the base to a perfect form, power weighted. And then there is a Cell and only playable in story mode though. Doria, Frieza and all of his forms, Goku, and you could go through
Really?
all of
Frieza's forms, including the alien one.
Frieza, base, final form, 100% final form, and Mecha Frieza.
Okay, so they didn't allow for the second and third forms.
Those ones
don't show up. The taller horns, and then the alien looking one,
his ugly forms. Yes.
Yeah.
The Great Saiyan.
Before he gets fabulous.
Yeah, the Great Saiyaman, Hercule, base and high tension Hercule, Kid Gohan, Krillin, Nappa, Piccolo, Raditz, Raccoon, Teen Gohan, Tien Shinin, and Trunks, Vegeta, Yamcha, and Zarbon. The highest form, surprisingly, actually, that you could only go with Goku. His most powerful form in the game was only Super Saiyan.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy because Vegeta can go Super Saiyan, but he can also go Super Vegeta. Trunks can go Super Saiyan 2, and so can Teen Gohan. Didn't they? I thought they all could go Super Saiyan 2 by the time the Cell games came around.
I'm trying to remember. I know Goku was laid out for a bit with the heart disease, so he he was behind everyone else for a little bit there. I don't know if the training after all of that helped him ultimately, like if that got him to the second level, and ultimately, of course, third after the Celestial Games and all that stuff. I'm sorry if no one really pays attention to Dragon Ball Z stuff. We're getting into some territory that's maybe not necessarily Nintendo, but
yeah.
This is a part of our other podcast, our Dragon Ball Z podcast. You should listen to it if you can find it.
Yeah, it's really hard to find. But yeah, so you have a whole list of characters you can play with there. They did a really good job at integrating all the a bunch of key characters and even like smaller characters, supporting characters, in the game itself. Yeah, even I remember I wanted to talk about this real quick too, that when the game ended with the Cell games, like I was so disappointed. I wasn't disappointed in the game. Like I loved the game, but I was really because I had never played Budokai. Like I didn't play all the way through Budokai. I didn't know the story. I didn't know how deep it went. And I was worried when all the villains were on the front of the box, but Kid Buu wasn't. So when I beat the game, I was like, nah, so disappointed when the credits rolled after you beat Cell in the Cell games. But no, dude, this game, I can't say enough about it. I mean, it got a pretty decent rating. I think it was like around 7.5 or something on Metacritic back in the day there.
It's respectable for a fighting game.
Oh, totally. It says a lot that, for my fandom for Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball in general, Dragon Ball stuff, that I don't really play games like this, so the fighting game, the fact that I picked it up and I played it and I got decently good at it, says a lot for my love for Dragon Ball. I think maybe my biggest pet peeve with the game in general was, and this goes for all the Budokai games, is that we talk about the element of flying, Ryan, about why we'd want to fly. And I really felt like that lacked in this game. And I guess it's hard to pull off in a 2D fighter game. Like in my mind, Dragon Ball Z, you can just hop up and fly the characters anywhere,
Yeah.
In this game, you couldn't, there was no button move to like fly in the sky and just like stay in the sky. And that was something I always wanted to do. Like I wanted to take the fight to the air, but it always felt like you're kind of slowly like floating back down to the ground as you fought. Mm-hmm. Like they'd go up and they'd float and you could do combos in the air, but that was about it in the intensity of what you could do, which let me down a little bit.
And they've done many, many iterations since then, where you have full control over flight. And a lot of like Wii motion controls are kind of fun to be like lifting the nunchuck up and down to raise or lower yourself. And like you got a lot more free range movement, but at the cost of being from a third person perspective instead of like the traditional fighter side by side thing. So they've done some explorations of those things.
So where do you want to see Dragon Ball go? I mean, do you think where it's headed right now, you think that's the right direction? Would you love to see more of a Budokai approach? Like I don't know how the games play. I guess like Xenoverse, you're kind of you're your own character, isn't that correct?
I think there is some sort of character creation involved with that.
Yeah,
and you can play through kind of your own experiences of the stories. I think there was something about timelines maybe being mixed up or something, and you can do. I think there might have been a couple of games that use that premise, but I think it has something to do with that. Like you're trying to correct timelines, maybe, or something.
From my knowledge, there's like an outside villain that the Z Warriors aren't really aware of because these guys can like manipulate time. But you can travel through time and you basically know what they're doing. Your made up character, which could be you essentially, and you're stopping events from being corrupted and changed by these villains throughout time during the Dragon Ball Z story processes, I guess.
I'd like to see them do more with the names, like Budokai, and I don't want them like crazy, like Budokai Tenkaichi and all that stuff, and add more crazy things on it. Shin Budokai and But if you break down Budokai, it basically means a gathering of martial artists for a competition. I mean, it's a very rough translation, and then you add the Tenkaichi part of it, which is basically above. Like heaven and then below, so like hell, I guess. Like there's only one, like master of all of them. It's kind of like this like middle ground. Like there's one above all of them, and they're fighting in this one tournament. Like it kind of takes a more celestial take on like HFIL and all that stuff. Like tries to incorporate all that stuff. So they can take that. They could do like a Budokai, and then some kind of word that's mashed together from like Japanese or Chinese characters to represent like what super is, which is the grand, like several different universes, or I guess would it be universes or would it be just galaxies? I don't really know. Basically, whatever these
Galaxies.
games are, because I'm not up to date on Dragon Ball Super, so whatever that tournament is called with the different galaxies like fighting.
Oh, the new one, yeah, it's universes.
Universes, okay, yeah, the different like some kind of word like that, like Dragon Ball. It can be Dragon Ball Super, Budokai, and whatever that word would be. I could see them taking that and having like everything prior. Maybe even doing like if they could do licensing stuff, have like a little like a side mention about Dragon Ball GT. Not that I'd really necessarily need that, but just to say this existed in an alternate universe or something.
Yeah, it never happened.
Timeline. Yeah, they kind of erased that, and so to show it like a dream sequence or something like that would be interesting, just to have a nod to it, because they pretty much erased it from canon.
Yeah, they did. They did really, which I'm happy with because I didn't like how it ended. I mean, I liked elements of GT, but I didn't like how it ended. Yeah. But Super, I think, opens up a whole new avenue of new fighters and new things that they can do. And I'll be very curious to see where they take advantage. I don't think the new game even takes advantage of Super, the Fighter Z. We're still stuck on the Z, the Z letter.
It has that letter,
brand.
yes. But they could use Dragon Ball and like attach whatever they want to it, and it could be, people would think, oh, that's just the first series. It has nothing to do with Dragon Ball Z, but I think it's a much larger picture, no matter what letter they use there. I think Z is most recognizable by everyone, so putting that on the end of Fighter just sounds like Dragon Ball Fighters. Makes sense. They added the Z part to it. They haven't announced enough characters to know. I don't think that announces that, hey, there's super characters. I know that Xenoverse 2 does have super characters in it. So
yeah, there's like packs and stuff that you could like. They took elements because the movies were coming out around that time, the latest movies.
There was a pre-order bonus, I think, that you could play as Black Goku and things like that, which none of this stuff makes any sense to me because I haven't watched it yet, but I'm way behind.
I haven't seen it either. Well, I know some things that the games now lack. I don't believe that the American voice actors are actually in the games right now. I think it's like all Japanese voice acted. Which is, I mean, I could be wrong again because you know what, they don't bring every Dragon Ball Z game to Nintendo, so I don't play them all. I could be wrong, but from what I've heard from like trailers and stuff, sounds like that the voice acting in the games are all Japanese, which I don't like because I definitely do not like Goku's voice in Japan. It's played by an old woman.
Yeah. Now I don't know how much of that is just the joke nature of Dragon Ball Z in Japan, or Dragon Ball in general. The whole series is just a spoof. It is a joke. Seriously, it is. It's like a comedy for them. And so like when they brought it over to America, and like, how do we make this successful? Well, let's give it like an edgy intro with guitars and screaming, or like that sound and like that kind of like rap Dragon Ball sound, Dragon Ball Dragon, that repetitive thing. They tried to spice it up with the intro to get people into it, and they renamed some things and moved some things around to really appeal to an American audience. And it's almost taken on its separate entity from what Japan knows it as. Here it's really cool, and it is a bit dorky to some people watching it from the outside, but like just as much as like watching professional wrestling can be, from the outside it looks so silly and so fake, but like when you really get into it, you really delve into that universe and you get into the characters and stuff. That's pretty much what Dragon Ball Z is for us. And for them, it's silly spoof stuff. It was never really meant to be taken seriously.
That's so odd to me. That really is. I didn't know that. Like, to me, Dragon Ball is amazing. I mean, I don't follow tons of anime. That's my anime. That is my top anime. And to me, it's serious. Dragon Ball Z is like, there's a lot of humor in it. And that's what I love about it. Like, you'll be in one of the most serious moments of the whole season. And some doofy character will say something goofy, you know, and like it just gives you a comedic relief.
Well, you know, you see that comedy there, though, with it not taking itself serious, with just their names. Like the Saiyans are all vegetables, and Piccolo's a musical instrument, and all of Piccolo's previous forms with King Piccolo had musical instruments attributed to them.
Yeah.
And that was very, very, very heavily spoofed with names like that. They were just so silly. And that was kind of the point of it, but it's given with such a different marketing light in the US that it actually just pulls that in to a serious environment and less something that can be taken super serious, like what is it here? Sorry, Siri went off. It distracted me. Cut this part out of the show.
Okay.
Apparently me saying serious triggered Siri.
So come in now.
I don't know what I was saying. I'm seriously like at a blank. So.
Oh, you were talking about it's like appeal in Japan versus America and why it's different.
Yeah. Really, you've got the joke. Like I said, you've got the joke characters' names there with veggies and just you have the numbered androids. And they didn't put a lot of thought into those. You've got Red Ribbon Army and things that don't come across as threatening. Like, why is Red Ribbon, like, what's so threatening about this silly ribbon? And like, it's those elements that just really aren't meant to be taken seriously. But because of what America did with the marketing to make it marketable to people and get kids of the 90s really excited, was to add these cool flair elements to them. And that simple intro, that certain initial appeal, catches you in a completely different mindset than what satire of Japan was intended for the show.
It sounds like to me it's the Kirby effect. Like in Japan, Kirby is really popular and advertised for all of his games as a cutesy, dootsy little plushy character. Like he's all cutesy and like that sells big in Japan, cuteness. But in America, in America, he's the exact opposite. He's portrayed fighting and sucking up enemies and transforming and having these awesome new abilities, and that sells to an American audience.
Exactly. That's exactly the whole Dragon Ball Z element there.
Wow, I never knew that though, because like Kirby, his character, just looking at him, he doesn't change. Like he looks cutesy in general, but in Dragon Ball Z characters, for the most part, don't give off this cutesy, dutsy, silly sense to me.
And it's almost laughable to them. I've heard this. Like, it's almost laughable to them to hear that we're so into Dragon Ball Z when there aren't really cute characters in Dragon Ball Z, so that doesn't appeal to them. I mean, there's a couple of cute moments, but that doesn't really appeal to them at all. And like, it's just a silly cartoon show. And like here, it's completely different feel.
But it's still popular. I mean, it's widely, insanely popular over there.
It's still really well known, but it's mystifying to a lot of people to say, why do you like this? It's kind of like a baby show. I mean, not necessarily baby show, but like it's just silly. Like it's something that you watch as a kid just because, you know, and you grow past that. But like us, we're grown people and we still love it, you know.
I mean, the whole reason I work out is because of this show. I mean, I won't lie.
There you go.
I want to
American marketing.
I want to look like Goku, you know what I mean? So like that's why I lift and eat good for the most part. It motivates me. I want to look like Goku. I wish all I had to do was just scream and flex my muscles and I'd grow like massively cut body, but
Kaioken times 10.
Yeah, go Super Saiyan, you know, and just like bust it up, you know, bust to that next level. But I mean, I have Dragon Ball Z shirts. I worked out in a Goku shirt all last week. Actually, that was my cutoff sleeve. It's Goku's orange shirt. That's why I lifted it. And this week I have a Goku shirt with him going Super Saiyan in front. It's cut off and it says "Training in Saiyan." And I'm going to wear that to the gym this week. So But
I'll probably when we do our episode on Budokai 2, I'll probably get into my love for the Dragon Ball Z card game, but that's for another episode.
oh, totally. Awesome, man. Well, this was a good topic. Just like last week. What 2 home run hitters for you in a row? Good job. They're not even key top Nintendo franchises, but they're great Nintendo nostalgia games for us.
Yes, very much so. It's good revisiting these things with you, man. It really is. And since we're in the whole fighting game mood, we've got a surprise announcement scheduled for the last Thursday of this month. September 28th, Nintendo Nostalgia gets smashed!
Super Smash Brothers Melee!
Yes, that is coming up, so get excited, people. But, alas, we've come to the end of our show. Jacob, where can people find us?
Well, everybody, you can find us at dayspace.com/Nintendo Nostalgia. We're on iTunes, Nintendo Nostalgia. We are on Google Play, and we have a hotline. Don't forget to call us in at 317-969-5690. Our Facebook is facebook.com/Nintendo NOS. Our Twitter is twitter.com/Nintendo_NOS. We're on Instagram at Nintendo NOSIN, and email is nintendonostalgia@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at NoshJacob73 if you want to follow me.
You can find me at Metroid Hunter on Twitter. Thanks, guys, for another great episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We love that you're listening to us, and we hope that you tell people about us and love us enough to give us a 5-star rating on the Apple Podcasts app. Jacob, that brings us to a close.
All righty, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a blessed one.
Later.